superb start.
If you're Pat Riley, you're happy right now, mainly because the big fella's showing you different moves. He's just not staying with one set move.
Williams tried to force it, turnover. Here comes Stackhouse, one man to beat. Stackhouse, nice drive. And then the ball knocked away. So a 4-point lead for Miami.
We say with Dallas, they're very opportunistic. They come off, you get the ball up the floor, they're constantly looking. Now here's Stackhouse, the points, 32 points over the Miami bench in the 2 games. The field goal percentage has been outstanding. But what I also like is the fact that he has the assists.
Wade gets inside, good drive, and draws the foul. Dwayne Wade will shoot 2 more free throws. Even though he hasn't shot the ball well, he continues to get to the free throw line.
Well, anytime that you get to the line 12 times, you know that it is there. People are saying, well, in games 1 and 2, they prevented Wade from getting to the rim. Well, he still was able to get in the 20s, even though he is only shooting 39%. When a man handles the basketball as much as he does, and then also the fact that he's so good with that first step, well, he's a handful.
Not the normal way to hit a free throw, but Wade knocks it down. You know, Wade had that game. We talked about this the other night, Yubi. He had a 28-point, 6 rebound, 6 assist game 1, and they said, you know what, he didn't do enough. And his comment was, we didn't win, so I can do more. And you can see he's come out with a force, the whole team. And as Pat Riley, after game 2, he said that the Mavericks' energy and intensity was so far superior, it was a joke. He was very annoyed. Energy and intensity has been right there. Stackhouse gets fouled again on a 3-point attempt. And Wade picks up his first. No, Jack Neese says it was a 2-pointer.
Now this is a situation where we know that we had 2 4-point plays, making threes from desperation areas and then fouling the jump shooter. Now, you would think that Miami would come out here tonight and pressure the jump shooters, but stay away from the contact. Stay away from saying, I'm going to block the shot. Just get up and put pressure on the shot, but keep the 3-foot distance.
Let's go over to Stuart Scott.
Mike, Jerry Stackhouse has known Josh Howard since Josh was in high school. Josh actually started playing basketball because he watched Stack and Rasheed at Carolina. I said, what's the best advice you've ever given to him? And he calls Josh baby boy. He said, I told him to calm down some. I've been that guy, the guy who thinks he can beat the world. He said, you can't beat the world. I said, has Josh ever taken you in practice? He says, probably, but I've given him so many elbows to the sternum that he probably can't remember. Mike?
All right, Steve Jason Williams misses a 3. Well, they get another offensive board. That's been one of the keys for the Mavericks is they've got a nice balance of young players and veterans. Wade inside.
We can see more patience tonight within Miami. Anytime that the ball was kicked out in game 2, it would be immediately shot at the basket or a quick drive and a shot attempt. Tonight, they're taking their time, they're resetting, and they're looking to either run the offense or take advantage of mismatches in the front court area.
They call a technical foul for hanging on the rim for Dwayne Wade on that play. Now, that's not considered an unsportsmanlike technical, so it won't affect if he gets another technical. It won't be an automatic ejection. It's a non-unsportsmanlike tech. Let's see if he did. By raising himself up, there's nobody underneath. Sometimes they let that go, but Jack needs that time. And the one-shot technical.
Mike, the rule is you cannot lift yourself on the rim if there's no one underneath. So that was an easy call by Jackie Neese.
And the fans chanting, refs, we don't agree. Or something like that. Howard steps back. Nice shot from Howard.
Well, he has a feel tonight. You can see it. You know, he opened up, he hit his first shot, you know, and it was a distant shot. And then he's looking to score early.
Haslam can't connect. Mavs looking to push. Howard inside, blocked by O'Neal. Here comes Jason Williams.
Oh, look out, 3-on-1.
Gets it inside to Walker. And Walker blows the layup. But O'Neal gets hammered. Smart play from Devin Harris.
Absolutely.
Fans want a flagrant, but no way. That's just a good hard foul to prevent the shot.
Now, you know, the coaching staff would have been all over Harris if he didn't foul Shaq in that situation. See, there's a situation. Play the ball up off the board, please, so that you make the easy layup. You know, that was a difficult trying to put it in on a swish from the side. Bad decision.
I can tell by your reaction that type of missed layup drives coaches crazy. So O'Neal will go to the line where, of course, that's been a story. Just 2 of 16. He's had his problems over the years, but these first 2 games have been brutal. And he's going to have to hit some free throws tonight. And the line drive is good.
Well, then, you made a little statement before about Wade and Shaq in here last night, late hours, working on whatever parts of their game. And you could see Shaq in the playoffs, 38%. And then the first 2 games, you just say, how can that happen?
This place will go crazy if he hits both. And there's his dad, Sergeant Philip Harrison, leading the cheers. Will that be a sign for the Miami Heat as they lead by 5?
Yeah, they're playing perfect basketball right now, Mike, and they're only ahead by 5 points. I like what Dallas is doing. No one's getting upset. No one forcing shots. They're staying within what they do. Their execution is there. And then we have not seen Miami miss yet, which will open up the fast break game for Dallas.
Haslem, that foul, his first, and the team's third. You shoot on the 5th. Haslem comes right back with the steal.
Oh, what a bad decision that was. Dirk was wide open.
Jason Williams, offensive foul. Excellent defense from Devin Harris. Basket will not count.
Devin Harris has such great, quick feet. He moves so quick. He anticipates when you leave the floor. Now just watch this, and then he will take it right in the chest.
So Harris, excellent defense. Devin Harris, the young man who grew up in Milwaukee, was not a highly rated high school player, went to Wisconsin and became a terrific player. Struggled his first year in the NBA, had his ups and downs like many rookies. But boy, has he come alive here in the postseason as Nowitzki gets his first rest.
Now, right now, you have the speed merchants in the backcourt. You have Devin Harris, and then you have Jason Terry with Stackhouse up front at the 3 position.
Inside, knocked away by Wade. Harris kicks it out. Terry for 3. Way short. And a turnover, O'Neal. I don't know if he didn't see anybody or thought somebody was going to cut.
No, he was looking for Wade. Wade was on the left side of the floor. He thought Wade was going to come along the baseline to the right side.
His first mistake of the night. He has been just terrific here in the opening quarter. Harris inside to Dampier. Another turnover.
Yeah, you got to catch those.
Walker just flips it up. Haslem with the follow. He's got that strange shoulder.
Look out here. Look out. 2-on-1.
Terry knocked away right to Dampier, and then O'Neal with the push. Should have let it go. Now the crowd wants Dampier called for a technical for hanging on the rim.
Now this is just great reaction by Dallas. They miss the shot, but they do not give up on the offensive rebound. They cause the deflection. Next thing you know, Dampier has the fight. Now, just what? You never assume a guy is going to make a layup. And that was a bad shot attempt. A terrific follow by Haslem. Now, right here. Now, just keep an eye on this. Now, right here. See, he never gave up on it. Makes the deflection, giving Dampier a chance to score.
He was hanging on the rim. He even said he asked himself, why did I return at some point? But as the season developed, Doobie, and then the playoffs came, they really came together.
Well, you go back. They were 2-12 versus the division leaders throughout the league. They also had a losing record against the plus 500 teams. They were 19-20. But it came together when they got to round 3 in the Detroit series.
Dampier shoots the one free throw after the Shaquille O'Neal foul. Maybe that hanging on the rim that they let go because O'Neal pushed him.
The push.
Veteran crew of Dan Crawford, Jack Neese, and Kenny Maurer out there tonight, the officials.
Got Dallas right now in his zone.
Walker, nice good drive from Antoine Walker.
Yeah, I like what they're doing now. Right now, Avery is not waiting long periods of time. He went with the double team early on Shaq. Now he just gave them his own look after a timeout. Try to break up the tempo so that they do not get comfortable.
Morning with the block.
Yeah, he's got to make that. Dampier's got to be stronger than that.
And then Wade with a travel as Miami with their 5th turnover already.
Mike, we say it all the time. Stop jumping up in the air to make a pass. Because if they cut off the passing lanes, you end up